Use he, him pronouns.
Hi, my name is Tristan, my pronouns are he, him, and I am a gay and queer man with trans experience. Trans people are getting a lot of negative attention these days. In fact, 97% of trans people in the UK have experienced transphobia. Maybe some of you think you've never met a trans person. Maybe some of you are wondering, what does it mean to be trans anyway? Well, there isn't a single definition, but most simply, it is when one's sex does not match their gender. Let's start with three key terms: sex, gender identity, and gender expression. So first, what is sex? Sex is often reduced to genitals at birth, but more comprehensively, sex also includes genetics and hormones. And while society perpetuates the belief that there are only two options, this is also not true. There are about 40 known intersex variations, which illustrates the wide natural variation in sex.
Gender describes our own understanding of ourselves, regardless of the sex we were assigned at birth. It's constructed socially and culturally, and it's not biologically determined. Someone's sense of gender identity could be fluid, absent, or indistinct. It could develop gradually over the course of a lifetime, or feel certain from early childhood. When someone's gender identity doesn't match their assigned sex, this can result in gender dysphoria. If gender identity is more about our internal sense of self, gender expression refers to the many ways we perform that outwardly. Things like appearance, pronouns, even behaviours and interests. Someone's gender expression could align with their sex, their gender, or both, or neither. Cis and trans people alike can subvert oppressive gender norms through things like fashion. However, trans people face more scrutiny than most when it comes to performing gender correctly. Something I often hear in trans people's stories of self-discovery is, I didn't know this was something I could do. Nobody told me. I was no different. Throughout my childhood, I privately held a vague sense that there was a truer version of myself hiding somewhere. I'd lament to loved ones about the disconnect I felt with my body, but beyond cutting my hair short, I had no idea what was possible. I couldn't connect the dots on my own. I was 21 when a non-binary friend, after patiently listening to me ramble on about my gender confusion, suggested I just try using different pronouns to see how it feels. I wish younger me knew that by 28, I'm an out and proud gay trans man. I've got the flat chest of my dreams and I'm surrounded by a beautiful, loving community. While things have come a long way, the notable lack of positive, diverse trans representation in mainstream media and education means a lot of people are left to figure it out on their own. I hope for a future where trans kids don't have to fear or withdraw from the world, instead seeing experiences like theirs reflected with honesty and compassion.
Transitioning is one of the scariest things I've ever done. I felt so exposed during the early stages of transition. And in fact, I've never felt so naked in my life. There is no discrete option. People will notice. And I was living a successful life. I was married, my career was thriving, and I was a competitive athlete. I wasn't unhappy. And all of this seemed hardly worth risking. And then 2020 came, and the escapism that I had built around maintaining this facade crumbled. I was in my mid-30s, and I decided I could no longer live this lie. All doubts disappeared after I started hormones. Pre-transition, my brain felt like an engine that needed oil. It could run, but it was clunky and inefficient. After adding lubricant, or in other words, the correct hormones, it ran smoothly, without effort. I recognized myself in the mirror shirtless for the first time after top surgery. Bottom surgery addressed the phantom limb that I had experienced for so long. I could finally be at home in my body and mind. And my life was not over, it was just beginning. I now understand what happiness truly feels like. As trans people, we truly know ourselves. We transition in the face of adversity. We've searched every corner of our minds and bodies for alternatives to return to yet again the same conclusion. This doesn't fit. And this isn't unique to the trans experience. Risking to be yourself is something shared by the entire LGBTQ+ community. And as a community, we are strongest when we support each other.
We'd like to signpost Transactual and Gendered Intelligence, two fantastic organisations that offer free educational resources where you can learn more. Thank you very much.